I don't know about y'all, but anytime somebody mentions the word mobile gaming to me, my involuntary reaction is just kind of like, ugh. And yet the majority of the gaming industry disagrees with me because mobile gaming makes up 55% of the entire market. This is the first time that I've ever been a minority, which that sounds weird. This big scary pie chart thing got my brain moving a little bit, and I started to think that maybe everyone who's been yelling at me, Isaac, why do you need a gaming handheld when you have a mobile phone, you idiot, is onto something. So this week I've decided to become Jon Snow, and instead of bending the knee to Daenerys, I'm just bending the knee to an Android phone with AI girlfriends on it. And what I've learned over this past week of mobile tinkering is that I am, in fact, an idiot. Everyone is right. Your phone might actually be the best handheld that money can buy right now. However, turning this thing into a legitimate handheld is a painful three-step process that I've realized. You need to learn how to hunt, how to break out of the prison, and then how to pick the right clothes, which I know this doesn't make any sense, but just give me some time and I'll explain it to you. Because today, whether or not you're rocking an ancient Android phone or a brand new one, I'm going to show you how I tapped into a source of mobile gaming that is fun and enjoyable.
Hey, Isaac. Where'd you get that phone?
I have my ways, okay?
Well, that's weird. Your account's been overdrafted ever since Obama was president.
How do you even know that? Big thank you to Red Magic for sending me an Android phone for this video. And it just so happens that the phone they sent me is kind of a monster. This is the 11S Pro, and it's widely considered to be the best dedicated gaming phone that money can buy right now. Thanks to the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 leading version, this thing will essentially sumo slam every mobile game, or if you're like me and you are obsessed with retro games, retro emulation, which we're going to cover later in this video, this thing is flying through it without any hesitation. It's the first mass-produced smartphone with a true flowing liquid cooling circulation system. So the thermals and the internal temps were a priority alongside a full AMOLED display with 144 hertz refresh rate. It's just, they spec'd this thing out, dude. I'm a sucker for anything that's utilitarian looking and feeling, so I love the fact that it doesn't have these super rounded edges and it's a little bit more sharp. It feels boxy, which I like in a phone. Packed with a 7,500 milliamp hour battery, I'm telling you, dude, they just like maxed out the spec sheet for this thing. So if you're interested in this, you can check my link in the description to take a look at the 11S Pro. Once again, thank you to Red Magic for letting me have this to be the focal point to get across my ideas about my yap session with mobile gaming that I think it's time we get into. You think playing games on your phone would be a simple concept? You just open the App Store, download something that looks cool, and then start playing. And it would be if it weren't for Mystery Dumpling Unbox ASMR. I cannot even express, dude, how much heinous software exists on the App Store, serving no purpose other than to take up the shelf space where other actual quality apps should be. This platform is so poorly designed for finding good games that there's literally other apps whose entire job is to help you find better games on the App Store. Not only are you bombarded all the time here with just endless amounts of options, but most of them don't even appeal to somebody who's looking for a good time. And what's so confusing to me about mobile gaming is that there's two main types: mobile games and then premium mobile games. Do you see how this doesn't make any sense? Premium is just code name for a game that won't try to suck the life out of your existence and shrink your wallet, which just means that there's no intrusive ads or microtransactions after you purchase the app. It's a game that's designed, get this, to be like a video game. The Play Store buries these types of games in their own category, which is just called premium, and it's the only place that I've been looking at this entire week. And even getting to this thing feels like a chore. You've got to scroll past the ebooks, the regular apps, and then all of the typical mobile slop littered all throughout the App Store that you don't even want to touch. I can only imagine how frustrating this must be for any developer who's trying to make a high quality mobile game and advertise it on the App Store. And it's even gotten to the point where people don't even want free games anymore, bro. This is the first time in consumer history where we're like, please, dude, I will pay you. I'll give you my money. Just stop. It's demotivating as a consumer because I don't cherish my time sifting through Gangster Miami, RP Grand City, and Amaze Romantic Goddess, which I totally did not install and try out. I'm complaining a lot, but it's very nuanced, okay? I know there's a huge demographic on the Play Store where the majority of them are toddlers and old people, so it makes sense as to why it's catered the way that it is. But dude, if we could just get like a separate app store that is the premium section fully fleshed out, it would finally give mobile gaming the space to develop and push past whatever the hell is going on there. Dude, I see these app stores as nothing but an anchor weighing down the whole industry. Great games do exist though on this app store if you dig through the rubble. I think a lot of people would be surprised to know some of their favorite retro or indie games have been ported over to Android. And you combine this with the ever-growing power of our smartphones, and we're starting to see genuinely beefy titles that would have felt impossible a decade ago. Netflix, of all people, is over here putting Death's Door, Sonic Mania, and Red Dead Redemption. When has Red Dead been playable on your phone now? It's just literally just downloaded on the App Store. A bunch of Final Fantasy games, Dragon Quest games are on here, and of course, the GOAT is still going strong. Growl Online Classic, baby. As unfortunate as it is, you must learn how to hunt in today's mobile gaming landscape on the app stores. And it's not like all of these, Steam game stores and eShop stores are perfect. I know Nintendo, you guys kind of got a problem over there. Once you've accepted the fact that the App Store is a prison designed to confine your attention span and attack your wallet, you get an idea. Let's leave. When you take the first step outside of the App Store, this thing finally starts to resemble a handheld. Unofficial Android ports are the first thing I want to tackle today on my list. I'm sure a lot of you have wished that there's one of your favorite games out there that got ported to Android and you could play it on your phone, and you'd be surprised to realize a lot of developers out there share that same wish and made it a reality. A surprising number of retro recoms and decoms fit into this. I just covered Dusklight, and I have been talking about it a lot in most of my recent videos, but then I dug deeper and found a full classic Ocarina of Time port called Ship of Harkinian, a Super Mario 64 port, and a Star Fox 64 port also called Starship, which looks so crispy running on a phone. I love the way that these upscaled models look when running natively. I found a Minecraft launcher that's an APK called the Amethyst, and what this does is it allows you to log in and connect to your Mojang account, which then downloads Minecraft Java Edition on your phone. And Java Edition opens the door to more mods, customization, and a whole lot of other stuff that people would prefer instead of the regular Minecraft app. And these are all just APKs of regular games that haven't really been changed whatsoever. Once you get into fan-made games, there's even more. A lot of fan-made games, though, usually aren't APKs or ROM hacks, and they're their own exe file, which wouldn't run normally on an Android device until something like Winlator gets downloaded onto your phone. This lets you emulate Windows so you can then run the exe files straight from your device. So, for instance, there's this fan-made game, The Legend of Zelda Dungeons of Infinity, that I saw and was hyped about. It takes the assets from A Link to the Past and then flips the gameplay on its head. So it's reshaping Zelda 3 into a procedurally generated roguelike dungeon crawler. And you can open the exe in Winlator and run it perfectly fine on your Android phone. And since we're already on the topic of emulators, you already know I have a stash of retro handhelds over here, so of course I had to put every emulator I could think of on my phone. I'm so used to retro handhelds running on older CPUs and hardware, but these newer phones are so up to date that they make my Flip 2 look puny in comparison. They don't even break a sweat. PS2 games look and run flawlessly. Your phone is now a mini Switch thanks to how far the Eden emulator has come, and old school ROM hacks will still continue to fill you with all of the nostalgia goodness. If your goal is to make your phone a handheld, you have to use emulation. It is like a no-brainer at this point, especially because things get easier and easier. Things like Obtainium are released, which will literally go out and find the APKs and install all of the emulators for you, and you're left to just tinker around and set them up, which usually isn't that difficult unless it's RetroArch. I'll still die on this hill that RetroArch is mad confusing. I've been emulating for years, and it still humbles me every time, but I love it. Look at how good it looks in this red XMB theme. I was super excited to try out Game Native and GameHub Lite on a mobile device. I've never tested this on a phone before, and you know, of course, this is an area that's carving a path straight to your Steam library. This brings low-end Steam games directly to the phone. More than retro emulation or anything else I've mentioned today, this is the strongest argument I see for somebody treating a mobile phone as a gaming handheld. A lot of us have the thickest, most plump and juicy Steam backlogs rotting away on our PCs, and here comes your phone with an ability to tackle the beast that is the backlog. I always see people showing off like them running Cyberpunk with 5 to 10 frames on their phone, which is really cool to see that it's even up and running. But like, bro, nobody's playing games that are AAA with 5 to 10 frames, and if you are, please leave your name in the comments below so I can file a restraining order against you. And I don't know if it's because it's newer hardware or I'm an idiot, but I actually really struggled to get GameHub and Game Native to work properly. I was running into a lot of Steam Cloud save issues, and finding the proper components off of the Steam, DB and the depots of the different games to install whatever I needed to. Like, it turned into a mess, and it's a clear reminder to me that GameHub and Game Native are very much so appealing to those of us who like to tinker for hours on end just to load up a game for 5 minutes and then not play it. The main appeal is that we can play the lighter weight games and turn this thing into a Steam Deck mini light thing. And just take a moment here to realize and witness just how much ground is covered with a mobile phone now. We're out here playing high quality indie games and mobile slop from the Google Play Store, custom Android APKs with retro recompilations and unofficial ports, literally every retro console on the planet getting emulated to near perfection, Windows emulation to run fan-made exe files, and now we're opening the door to your Steam library that you've probably sunk 10,000 plus hours into. It's too much. Literally, there is too much going on your phone, and I actually think this is a problem, and it's the third obstacle that we have to overcome if we want to turn this thing into a dedicated gaming handheld. Do you hear that? My chair is squeaky as hell. This is the chair I took from the living room. I think my grandma's gonna hate me for it. I despise the idea of your smartphone being the main source of everything you do and love, including your hobbies. And you already know this about me, okay? I think that your smartphone was designed by people with billions of dollars to carefully, over time, strip away every ounce of silence in your life. And I don't know who needs to hear this, bro, but God wants to speak with you, and I don't think he can if we're constantly trying to bury ourselves in the smartphone. I'm mostly just referring to social media. I think that video games are actually one of the healthier distractions in my eyes, so long as it's not Manu Chat, open parentheses, AI girlfriend, capital A, lowercase I, BF. Dude, what are these games? I see the irony in saying all this in a video that's about loading your phone with millions of different games and emulators. And at a certain point, when the Steam Deck costs $800, I think we all start to reconsider what's realistic. And I definitely don't blame anybody for trying to use their phone that also doubles as a handheld device. But if you're gonna do this, please clean up your device, de-bloat it, delete every single app that doesn't serve you, organize your ROMs into folders, and then start using a front end. Because, if you don't do this and you ever lose your phone, the police are going to show up at your door thinking you're a psychopath, because nobody should own a phone that looks like this. I also think personalizing the device to your own taste will make you have a better time. Something as simple as using Wallpaper Engine for some nostalgia bait, or organizing your apps in a way that's pleasing to look at will do the job. This doesn't have to be limited to wallpapers and icons, dude. It can get physical, and I found something recently that excites me a little bit too much. Let me show you. This isn't some sponsored segment, but it does pertain to the Red Magic phone specifically for the example. There's a physical switch on these devices that's supposed to flip you into gamer mode, and then it kind of drops you into their version of a front end. I found this unofficial app that lets you remap what that switch actually does and opens. So of course, because I'm primarily emulating games on this thing, I had it set to launch my front end called Socket. Psychologically, this just does something to me. Every other part of your phone is built to pull you back into the noise, you know, notifications, social media, your AI girlfriend. But the physical motion of this feels like you're closing a door to all of that. And then mentally, you're not on the phone anymore. You're in the handheld mode, which it helps the separation between the two hobbies that you're trying to clash into the same device. And it just goes to show how this tiny little customization and tweak on your phone can make a very big difference. As I've come out of this mobile gaming tunnel that I've buried myself in this week, I have learned just how much the scene is growing. People are unlocking not just the power of our phones, but the possibilities that come with them. We're very early here. Dude, I'm hoping that soon we'll hear like the horn from the watchtower signaling that they've spotted an official version of SteamOS for our phones approaching the gates. It's inspiring to witness, even while the corporate overlords keep trying to turn mobile gaming into an endless conveyor belt of slop. Developers and players are fighting for something better. There's this stubborn little corner of the gaming world that refuses to accept that your phone has to be a terrible place to play games when it really isn't. And the rebellion is only getting stronger as the newer hardware continues to improve. Just like the phone from Red Magic, shout out to them once again for letting me take a nice little smelly whiff of the mobile gaming scene this week. I really thought this was gonna feel jankier, and I just come out of this writing a love letter back to my Retroid Pocket 6 because I missed having a dedicated handheld. But the final product did come out better than I imagined. And now I'm sitting here looking at my iPhone thinking, how hard could it possibly be to turn this thing into a gaming handheld? Okay, never mind. Welcome back to another outro beat thing. Thank you, God, for another week, another episode of isaacOS, and I hope that you're all having a blessed day. I have been obsessed with like weird housey UK music and also listening to still some like old N64 PS1 era racing game soundtracks. I'm like kind of on this wavelength still. I really like the last one I did. I'm gonna make something that sounds like what I've been listening to lately. It might be terrible. Starting with a pad, and this one makes me ascend to the heavens. I want to layer it with like some dancing stuff. I need like a catchy melody or something. I always add the weirdest sound effects to these things, dude. It doesn't even fit. This thing sounds like a horse. I want the bass to sound like swamp ass, like kind of fart, like moist, like a moist fart. You know what I'm saying? Dude, this is so weird, dude. I don't know what this is, bro. If I heard this in a video game, I would turn it off.